Unmasked, Episode 12. Why didn't I leave? That's the question, isn't it? The one people don't always say out loud, but you can feel it. Why didn't you just leave? And the truth is, for a long time, I asked myself the same thing. Why did I stay? Why did I go back? Why did I tolerate things I now know I should have never had to endure? It's easy to look from the outside and think, leaving is simple. You see the red flags. You see the damage. You see the person hurting you. So why stay? But abuse doesn't start the way it ends. It doesn't begin with violence. It doesn't begin with cruelty. It doesn't begin with fear. It begins with attention, with charm, with feeling seen, maybe for the first time. And that's what people don't understand. You don't fall in love with the abuse. You fall in love with the person they pretended to be. And by the time that version of them starts to disappear, you're already emotionally invested, already attached, already hoping it comes back. Because you've seen it. You know it exists. Or at least, you think it does. And that's where it starts. Not weakness, not stupidity. Hope. Hope that the good version of them is the real one. Hope that the bad moments are just stress, anger, a phase. Hope that if you love them enough, support them enough, stay patient enough, they'll go back to who they were in the beginning. But that version doesn't come back. It just appears occasionally, just enough to keep you there. And that creates something people don't talk about enough. A trauma bond, where the same person who hurts you is also the one who comforts you afterwards. Where pain and relief come from the same place. Where you start craving the good moments even if they're surrounded by damage. It's like being pulled underwater and then being given just enough air to keep you alive. And after a while, that becomes your normal. You stop seeing it as abuse. You start seeing it as a relationship with ups and downs, because it doesn't happen all the time. And that's what confuses you. If it was bad all the time, you'd leave. But it's not. There are moments where they're kind, where they apologize, where they make you feel loved again. And those moments become everything. You hold on to them, you replay them. You use them to justify staying. You tell yourself, it's not always like this. They didn't mean it. They're just struggling. It'll get better. And slowly, your reality shifts. Things you once would have walked away from become things you tolerate. Then things you excuse. Then things you start to believe are normal. And at the same time, something else is happening. Your confidence is being chipped away. You're told you're overreacting, too sensitive, crazy, difficult. Your feelings are dismissed. Your reactions are mocked. Your reality is questioned. And after hearing it enough times, you start to doubt yourself. You stop trusting your instincts. You stop trusting your judgment. So when that voice in your head says, this isn't right, there's another voice louder saying, maybe it's just you. And that's how people stay. Not because they don't see it, but because they've been taught not to trust what they see. And then there's fear. Not always physical, sometimes it's emotional. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of what they might do if you leave, fear of not being believed, fear of being judged. And if children are involved, that fear becomes even heavier. You start thinking about stability, about disruption, about whether leaving will cause more harm than staying. You carry responsibility on top of everything else. And then there's something even harder to explain. You don't just lose the relationship. You lose the version of them you fell in love with. And you grieve that person, even though they're still standing in front of you. Because you keep thinking, if I just try a bit more, if I just hold on a bit longer, they'll come back. But they don't. And by the time you realize that, you're exhausted, you're confused, you're not even sure who you are anymore. So no, I didn't stay because I was weak. I stayed because I was being conditioned. Conditioned to doubt myself, conditioned to accept less, conditioned to believe that love had to hurt, conditioned to hold on to hope, even when it was destroying me. And leaving isn't just walking out the door. It's breaking that conditioning. It's fighting against everything you've been made to believe. It's choosing uncertainty over something familiar, even if that familiar thing is hurting you. And that takes strength. More strength than people realize. So when people ask, why didn't you leave? The real question should be, what was happening that made it so hard to leave? Because once you understand that, You stop blaming the person who stayed, and you start seeing the reality of what they were going through. And if you're listening to this, and you're asking yourself that same question, why am I still here? Just know this. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you deserve it. It's because something has been done to you, slowly, over time, that has made leaving feel impossible. But impossible isn't the same as forever.